today.
Magic is in the air.
Magic is in the air. Let's start with Nas. The new Nas album came out. Magic 2 is what it's called, right?
Yep, Magic 2.
I listened to it. You listened to it. Thoughts?
Of course I listened to it. It's cool. I don't think it's the best of the 5 projects. But I gotta be honest, I don't give a fuck. Because number one, I'm happy to hear all of this Nas.
Agree.
Number two, I think Nas is letting people know, like,
he still got it.
Fuck still got it. You know what's 5 albums in 2 years?
I mean, that's pretty badass.
I remember when DMX flexed that he had 2 albums in 1 year and they both were platinum.
Yeah.
I don't know if these are platinum. I would assume they are. We could look it up later. But 5 albums in 2 years, none of them were like a 2-pack or just a single. He has released
he's really
5 bodies of work in 2 years.
That's amazing.
Nas is acting like he's an underground rapper trying to get a record deal. Like, he on some shit like, yo, I want everyone to know my name.
I like
and
it.
so that way, you know, some big label could sign me. That's the kind of output he's no. That's the type of work. Yeah, he's just ODing is my point.
Yeah.
And I for one,
great,
love it. I think that this is amazing that someone at this part of their career can do this.
Right.
I think it's amazing that these 2 gentlemen have continued to link up and create dope bodies of work. I also think he is operating at a high level of everything.
Yeah.
Energy, creating. He's just making a lot of fucking moves. And I think he's making it very clear that today, him and his peers are very far away.
Right. I mean,
Because if you want to look at who is in Nas' peer group, there ain't a lot of them putting out albums.
no, they're not. They're not.
And there ain't a lot of them putting out hot albums.
No.
And there ain't a lot of them being consistent. And there ain't a lot of them making super hot fire.
But Nas is killing it. Nas is doing his thing.
Yes. In fact, I would argue that none of his peers are doing most of that shit.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Because who's Nas' peers? I mean, Hove, obviously. We ain't heard a Hove album in forever. 444 was the last project we got from Hove. That was years ago. The Carter album does not count. It was Beyonce's album, let's be honest. You disagree?
I'm not.
You think they equally... Then never mind. Honestly, never mind. Who else? I mean, Biggie's gone. Pac is gone. Wu-Tang, I mean, they're more collective when they all came out anyway, like in 94, 96.
Yeah.
It was not one member. Today we might see more of the individuality of like, oh, Ghostface is doing this, or Raekwon is doing that, or Method Man is doing this, or RZA is doing that, or whoever.
Method Man is doing this.
Facts.
Okay.
But
With his fine ass.
But there's not any music coming from these people as individuals. Like, I ain't heard a Ghost album in a minute, and I don't think Ghost is interested in that. And there's not a shot at Ghost. I'm just trying to have the peers conversation.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having the conversation. They're older, and I don't say that disrespectfully. They're older.
No, it's a fact that they're all in their 50s,
their
including
lives
Nas.
are different now. Their peak happened a long time ago. So I think it's a fair conversation to have. I think it's okay to talk about how well Nas is doing in terms of continuing his craft. And we've heard so many rappers get to a certain point before their 50s and say, oh, Jay-Z included, say, oh, I'm retiring, oh, I'm not doing this anymore, whatever.
I'm focusing on other things. That's the famous line.
And it's true that they do focus on other things, right?
Sure.
A lot of them, when you start to look into them and check in on them, you see that they have a lot of things going on that have nothing to do with actually making their own music.
Yes.
And that's totally fine. But it is refreshing to have someone who is from that era still making music, still making good music. I listened to it. I was like you said, I'm just enjoying having music from Nas. I've always been a Nas fan. I was one of the kids who was, in school talking about, well, I mean, but Jay-Z says this, but then Nas said that. And, I was one of those kids. So I appreciate both of them very much. And being able to get new music from Nas is amazing. Like, I was happy to turn on the album and listen to it. And he sounds great. Like, he's doing well, and I think you make a good point. He's letting everybody know, like, hey, I'm still here, and I still got it. And
he's not against using the new sound. I think we've said it here before, but I think Hitboy understands. Whether you like every song or not is a different conversation.
Yeah.
Which of the 5 projects is better than the other, or which one is number 1 to you is a different conversation. But
right.
I think Hitboy has a great understanding of how to put Nas and his style in today's rotation and not sound out of place.
Right.
There are plenty of Nas records from these 5 albums that you can put after a Drake, after a Cole, after a Kendrick, after a Wale,
right, yeah.
After Meek Mills, whoever, all of the people who are current and hot. You can put Nas right in that playlist, and it won't sound like, yo, who's this old nigga, man? What's this? Yo, get this old shit out of here. Like, you couldn't put Meek Mills, what's the record everyone loves? Nightmares and Dreams and Nightmares. You couldn't put that and then put If I Ruled the World right after. The young people be like, what the fuck is this? Why are we listening to this? Yeah. But there's a couple, you could put some other joints from these 5 albums up there.
Right, yeah.
The other thing is, and I'm dick riding a little bit, but I also think we have to give Nas props for the fact that he don't have to do this shit at this point. No. He's not under some like Def Jam record deal. Right. He's not someone who has a contractual obligation. Mm-hmm. He's just having fun. And I think it shows. It doesn't sound like some other people's music. I'm not going to say names. But it doesn't sound like some other people's music where it's like, I kind of didn't want to make this album. Right. I didn't really try on this album. Mm-hmm. I'm not really excited about this album. Mm-hmm. No, this sounds like, man, I am having a blast. Yeah. Yeah. And in closing, I want to ask a question. Or do you have something else to say?
No. Go ahead. Go for it.
Very often we hear that on a Nas release date, Jay-Z has released something at the same time. Nas album, Jay-Z single. Nas album, big Jay-Z feature. Nas album, Beyonce and Jay-Z collab album.
Okay, what happened this time?
Do you think it was the reverse this time? Because this time, the Book of Hove exhibit was announced. There was pictures of all the famous people there for the private first, showing. That viewing, and it was like, it'll be available to the public at the end of this week. Yeah. And at the end of this week, that week,
Nas' album came out. I don't know, because I don't remember if Nas said it was coming out.
No, not long before.
He didn't.
And even if he did, you don't think Nas knew about the Book of Hove shit?
I mean, I don't know. The Book of Hove thing was very hush.
Not for people of Nas caliber. Well, Nas know a lot of them same people Jay know.
Of course, I'm not implying that he doesn't. I'm just saying I know it was very hush. It was something that was done in conjunction with Jay-Z's team. So I don't know. I truly don't know one way or another. But you make a good point. And it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not.
I'll be honest, it wasn't an original thought. I heard someone somewhere else say it, and I was like, oh, shit. Did Nas pull the okey doke?
I mean,
Did Nas say, "Hey, Book of Hov"? Yeah, that's cool. Bow, Magic 2, nigga, take that.
I mean, why not? Why not? And as I always like to say, we can have them both, and that is why the next thing that on our agenda is the Book of Hov.
It is.